This September 26, 2013, regular meeting number 4 of the Fairfax County School Board will now come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence, and the performance of the national anthem by the Spring Hill Elementary School Chamber Orchestra under the direction of Ruth Donahue. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wasn't that wonderful? There was a Spring Hill Elementary School Chamber Orchestra under the direction of Ruth Donahue, and thank you so much.
And Mr. Chairman, I have to say, I think this is probably the largest string program in the county.
I can understand that. Thank you. A few announcements before we begin tonight's meeting. Mr. Elena Fairfax will not be in attendance at tonight's meeting. And there are a couple of board members who are at the back-to-school nights and are on their way. If you would like to access tonight's agenda and related meeting documents, you can do so by going to the Fcps website, select School Board, and then Upcoming Meetings and Agendas. The Fcps wireless network and access to the internet is available in the auditorium. Directions for accessing the network are available on the table by the auditorium entrance. If you have signed up to speak before the board during citizen participation, please turn in 16 copies of your remarks at this time to the deputy clerk sitting in the section to my right. If you would like to review a copy of the agenda and any agenda item that is being discussed tonight, that information is also on the table by the auditorium entrance. Please turn off or silence your cell phone. And let me now call on Mr. Ash for an announcement.
Fire Prevention Week 2013 focuses on fire prevention in the home. The official theme, Prevent Kitchen Fires, encourages citizens to be aware of the potential dangers in home kitchens and how to prevent a cooking fire. On average, there are roughly 3,000 reported kitchen fires per day in the United States. During Fire Prevention Week, October 6th through 12th, fire safety educators around the country will work with citizens to teach them about fire safety tips, encourage them to keep a family safety checklist, and encourage activities featuring Sparky the fire dog.
Thank you, Mr. Ash. The next order of business is presentations to the school board, with the first one being Spotlight on Learning. Dr. Garza?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Tonight's spotlight, I'm very pleased to present, is presented by Prosperanta, I always say your name wrong, Calhoun, principal of Jeb Stuart High School, and Kate Walter, the PTSA president. And here, their topic of the presentation is Jeb Stuart High School International Baccalaureate Career Certification Program. So it's my honor to present tonight's spotlight from Jeb Stuart High School.
Thank you very much for this great opportunity. On behalf of the entire Stewart community, I would like to thank the school board and Dr. Garza for giving us this great opportunity. This program was started actually by a group of extremely caring and talented young people whom you are seeing. Some of them are here tonight. And Armani, who is the club president, would like to just say a few words in terms of the work that they did this past year. Their focus was they identified the needs in the community in the Stewart, where many of our families did not have access to a working, functioning computer at home. And Armani is going to share with you what they did in order to address that need.
So in the video, we helped out our local community. We gave them computers. That's about it.
We'll go ahead and view the video at this time.
So these are the RAM slots, these two ports right here. So I'm just going to pop these up, check how much is on here. So this is 512, that's 1 gig. And then this one's another gig, so this is 2 gigabytes, and I can put Windows 7 on here.
Gigabytes? RAM? For those of you who are unfamiliar with tech speak, you might be thinking, huh? What did he just say? But to these Jeb Stuart High School students, gigabytes and RAM make perfect sense. They're part of a new after-school tech team club. Through a partnership with a statewide program called Virginia Star and the local Bailey's Crossroads Rotarians, these students are learning valuable computer skills through hands-on experience.
We take donations from businesses that are done with their technology like computers, and we refurbish them and we give them out to families who are in need of computers. Members from the Rotary Club come to help us with the actual technology and like refurbishment process. We have to clone the disk or copy it over and like replace hard drives and replace all the parts that the computers are missing.
Teacher and club advisor Joyce Shanahan says the school chapter of the Tech Team Club evolved from a new international baccalaureate pilot program. Stuart High School was one of 4 schools to have the IB career-related certificate program at their school. As student interest in the program grew, a club emerged, and so did the technical know-how of the students.
We're working with a bunch of really motivated students who are learning at flash speed. The kids pick up a computer. How do I get it opened? Okay, now they get it open, they look inside, and they soon learn there's memory. Oh, this computer has more memory than this one, so suddenly they're tearing into the web learning about memory. You suddenly have slam-bang computer experts in the kids.
I've learned like how to format a hard drive, how the hard drive looks, how the RAM looks, and if it has like enough RAM. Those were like things that I didn't know before the program.
I didn't know anything at first, but they taught us how to like open a computer like this, and then to put in the hard drive, connect everything.
But learning to refurbish computers is only one part of the club. Once the technical makeover is done, families in the Jeb Stuart pyramid who don't own a home computer are invited to come to the school during a monthly computer giveaway.
So once the families come in, we welcome them and we individually teach them how to use a computer, how to turn them on, and also the parts of the computer, show them the features.
Jeb Stuart High School PTSA President Kate Walter says there are three main parts of the Virginia STAR program.
One is training the kids up, the technology side. The second is getting computers out, bridging the digital divide within our own community. And then third is recycling and refurbishing so that a lot of this equipment doesn't end up in landfills.
Aside from the technical skills the students acquire, the Tech Team Club gives them something more, something that can't be measured in gigabytes and RAM.
Everybody feels good. I have a lot of resources and I like to share it with people.
It just gives me a good feeling whenever I help out someone. Like when I saw like the kids' faces, they were happy.
I feel really good because this is what I like to do. Like I really like computers. This is really fun for me, and when I see that the families are happy that when they're receiving computers, I feel really happy too.
Thank you. I'm inviting the team representatives who are here tonight to come up here. Stewart High School has about a 60% free and reduced lunch population. So many of our families do not have access to computers. This year, not only will they be refurbishing computers, we have received a grant for $2,000, which is double the amount from last year. And our hope is to have more computers available, but also to offer training on site for the families on how to best utilize the computers right at Stewart. At this time, let me give you a chance to hear Armani and to also, he will introduce his team members that are with him.
So this is the Jeb Stewart Tech Team. This is Aiden, Quan, Tin, Justin, David, Andy, and Jonathan. We also have with you Ms. Shannon and Ms. Walter.
One additional person that you may have noticed that you know quite well that was part of the video is Ms. Cindy Evans, our school board member for our pyramid, and she was instrumental in the process and has been very supportive of the tech team from the inception of it. Thank you so very much.
Wow, thank you for what you do. And let me call on Ms. Evans. I'm sure that she has something to say.
I do. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. I was just thrilled when I heard about what you were doing at Stewart High School with this program. It's such a novel program and certainly needed in our community. I see this as a win-win-win for the school, for the students, for the community, and for the program itself. It just it boggles my mind what you've been able to do in a short period of time. And of course, it really is a model for our brand new IB career certification program. So I think that you're all pioneers here, and you all have done a really great job. I particularly want to thank Mrs. Calhoun and Ms. Walter and Ms. Shanahan for their support and all that you've done, and for the Bailey's Rotary, which of course was very much a part of this as well, but of course especially to the students, because you all have done just a fantastic job. So congratulations on such a successful first year, and thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
I want Mrs. Reed to be followed by Mr. Wacom. Mrs. Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Congratulations. You all should be very proud of yourselves. It's very impressive to see what you've done and the good that you're doing in your community. I have a question. How can we take the old computers from our homes and get them to you?
you can donate it to Ms. Shannon or us.
And are people aware of that, of the possibility of doing that? Is that communicated to people?
Yes, actually, Ms. Walter has been helping us tremendously. She is our PTSA president. She has been reaching out to different companies, and we have received some computers, but we certainly can have or can use a lot more. She will tell you how she is the collection person, so I will let her say a few words at this time.
We would be glad to receive any kind of technology donations, and it's actually not just computers, because what we do is we take anything in, we go through a screening process, the guys come and they look at what we've received. Anything that can be refurbished, they refurbish. They might just scavenge for usable parts. Anything else, we work with a local recycling company and do a kind of responsible recycling of the leftover electronics. So as part of that, when we get to 500 pounds, they'll come and pick up for us, and we actually get paid for the recycled materials. So in that light, we take anything, cell phones, old wires for your computers. We can take anything and use it somehow in our program.
That's terrific. That makes me think that we should be taking this pilot program and trying to implement it across our schools. We all know how much stuff we have in our homes, old cell phones, old Blackberries, old computers, and what a wonderful way to take that refuse and do something positive to all of our communities. So that would be my hope, is that we can learn from what you all have done and we can teach others to do the same thing. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Mr. Becker?
So to the gentleman here, I hope you know that every one of those computers that you refurbished is many times more powerful than what was used to send Apollo to the moon and back. Ms. Calhoun, I actually have a question, and if this is really out of bounds for this discussion, just let me know. But I'm actually curious about the IB certificate. This is different from the regular IB program, which I know is at Stewart. Are you able to just say a few words about the IBCC?
Absolutely. Our IB Career Certificate program, actually, as you have heard, is new. This is the second year for the career-related. In order to participate, a student has to be involved in a CTE program, such as whether it is business, programming. It doesn't have to be at Stewart. They can also be part of the academy. And it is another path for some of the students that are more geared toward some of the career-related type programs to still be able to earn an IB diploma. It is as rigorous, and they not only have classes in the CTE part of the education, they also take a class called ATL, the Approaches to Learning, which teaches them about how to study, and all the critical thinking skills and the creative part of the IB. And we are very fortunate to have that at Stewart. And it's last year was the first year, and we are growing and hope to make it even bigger, because as you know, right now we are learning as a society that it's not just about the reading, writing, and arithmetic, but those specific skills that they can import with them into their future.
Okay, thank you so much, and thanks for coming out, gentlemen and other folks, for the presentation this evening. I guess I'm sure that you guys have some homework and more computers to work on tonight. Good night.
Thank you very much.
The next order of business is citizen participation. Fairfax County citizens who would like to address the school board should arrange to be placed on the speakers list by signing up online at www.fcps.edu or by calling the school board office at 571-423-1075. If the concern is a group concern, please consider appointing a spokesperson, and while the spokesperson is speaking, those in support may stand to show their support. The school board will not hear statements regarding involving issues that have been scheduled for public hearings, such as capital improvement program, budget and boundaries, or personal attacks on any person. Complaints regarding individual students or school-based employees should not be raised at public meetings. Any such concerns should be directed to the appropriate school principal or other school officials. Citizens are encouraged to write the school board on any school-related topic. Speakers are requested to limit their remarks to not more than 3 minutes and provide at least 16 copies of their presentation for distribution to the board. Tonight, one citizen has signed up to address the board, Dana Weinberg.
Good evening, members of the board and Dr. Garza. My name is Dana Weinberg, and the reason I'm here tonight is because I found numerous factual errors in my son's 10th grade AP History textbook, World Civilizations, A Global Experience. He's now a senior. I'm fortunate to be supported by several organizations and scholars with expertise in the history topics addressed tonight. I look forward to working with the school board, instructional services, and the superintendent's office to correct factual inaccuracies throughout our children's history textbooks. Our students deserve and are entitled to an excellent education. The factual inaccuracies I mentioned tonight are only the tip of the iceberg. The first error is on map 4.1 titled Persia in its main stages circa 500 BCE on page 83. The textbook incorrectly labels a geographical area as Palestine and Judea, which should be correctly labeled as only Judea. This is historically impossible. In 135 CE, the Roman Emperor Hadrian changed the region's name to Syria Palestina to erase Judea as a sign of Jewish sovereignty following the Jewish revolts against Rome. The second error in this textbook is the same as the first and on page 101 in map 4.4 titled The Roman Empire from Augustus to 180 CE. Palestine and Judea are shown in the shaded area corresponding to the period acquired before the death of Caesar, 44 BCE. The map is also blatantly false. The label Palestine is incorrectly added to this region. The name Judea should be the only label for this geographical area. In a second textbook, the 2012 online edition of World History Patterns of Interaction, the map on page 926, titled World War II, German Advances, 1939 to 1941, incorrectly labels the mandate for Palestine as Transjordan and Palestine. This portion of the mandate for Palestine should be correctly labeled as Jewish Palestine. In the same textbook, on page 1017, under Israel becomes a state, the first sentence of the first paragraph states, the former Palestine mandate now consists of Israel, the West Bank, and the Gaza Strip. This is factually incorrect. 100% of the land in the mandate for Palestine was to be reconstituted as the Jewish national home. On September 16, 1922, the League of Nations finalized the mandate for Palestine and created one Jewish state, Israel, and one Arab state, Transjordan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weinberg. That concludes the citizen participation, and the next order of business is the student representative matters. Mr. Ash.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So lately, we actually had our first SAC meeting last Wednesday, and we were lucky enough to receive 30 minutes with, an hour with Dr. Garza. And she spoke on various issues affecting the county and what she's looking forward to her relationship with SAC to be. And I'm very hopeful that she will be a very active component, and I look forward to seeing her at many of our meetings and hearing her voice and the interaction with the students. I am also beginning to plan my visits to other schools, and so I'm hoping to start those in the next 2 weeks if possible. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ash. The next order of business is a consent agenda. Our adopted rules of parliamentary procedure, Robert's rules, provide for a consent agenda listing several items for approval of the board by a single motion. Most of the items listed under the consent agenda have gone through board committee review and recommendation. Documentation concerning these items has been provided to all board members and the public in advance to assure an extensive and thorough review. Items may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member prior to the meeting. 3.01. Approve the minutes of September 12, 2013 regular school board meeting. 3.02. Adopt a resolution honoring the Oakton High School varsity athletes and coaches. 3.03. Confirm the separation for the period beginning July 1, 2013 and ending July 31, 2013, and for the period beginning August 1, 2013 and ending August 31, 2013. 3.04. Adopt Policy 1350, Emergency Closing and Delayed Opening of Schools, Policy 1420, Accountability for Public Funds and Property, Policy 1503, Website Privacy, Policy 2158, Student Employment, Policy 3829, Contest and Awards, Policy 8310, Site Planning and Development, Policy 8320, Site and Building Acquisition, and Policy 8542, Environmental Stewardship as detailed in the agenda item. 3.05, appoint individuals to serve a one-year term on the challenged materials interdepartmental review committee as detailed in the agenda item. 3.06, award the contract for the automatic temperature control system replacement at Waynoke Elementary School to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Engineer Services Inc., in the amount of $312,000, and authorize the division superintendent or the assistant superintendent of facilities and transportation services to execute and administer the contract on behalf of the school board. 3.07, award the contract for the automatic temperature control system replacement at Franklin Middle School to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Engineer Services Inc., in the amount of $391,000, and authorize the division superintendent or the assistant superintendent of facilities and transportation services to execute and administer the contract on behalf of the school board. 3.08, appoint individuals to serve on committees as detailed in the agenda item. Is there any objection to approving the consent agenda? Hearing and seeing no objection, the consent agenda is approved. Next, we have a new business. We will not be voting on these items, but the action is scheduled at the future meetings for the following items. 4.01. Approve the division-wide comprehensive plan as detailed in the agenda item. 4.02, approve the recommended instructional textbooks as detailed in the agenda item and as reviewed and recommended by the Science Basal Instructional Materials Adoption Committee. 4.03 is adopt a resolution to opt out of the Virginia Local Disability Program administered by Virginia Retirement System. Dr. Garza, do we expect a brief presentation from staff on this?
We can do that. We can provide you an update on what that is. We did provide some materials at your places regarding why we're recommending that we opt out. We have had an independent analysis of our current disability program that we offer, and it's better than even than what's being provided here. So it is our recommendation that we go through with this. I'm certain that Dr. Bajardo could provide more detailed information should you want more than that. We'll be happy to provide it.
Maybe at the next meeting, if there is any question from the board
Certainly.
members. Meanwhile, what you provided to the board members will be posted.
Yes,
as
sir.
well. Thank you. 4.04, award the contract for the automatic temperature control system replacement at Timberlane Elementary School to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, and authorize the division superintendent or the assistant superintendent of facilities and transportation services to execute and administer the contract on behalf of the school board. 4.05, award the contract for the Westgate Elementary School renovation project to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, and authorize the division superintendent or the assistant superintendent of facilities and transportation services to execute and administer the contract on behalf of the school board. We have a superintendent matters. Dr. Garza.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I have a number of announcements I'm pleased to make. Westbriar Elementary School is now one of 7 public schools in Virginia to be named a 2013 National Blue Ribbon School by the U.S. Department of Education. And you all know that's a very prestigious honor. The Blue Ribbon Schools program recognizes public and private K-12 schools that are academically superior or demonstrate dramatic gains in student achievement. So we congratulate Principal Lisa Pilson and her faculty and staff. It's a tremendous honor for both her school and for FCPS as a whole. This past week, we had an exciting event at Crestwood Elementary School. We had a number of our school board members there with us, where we had the opportunity to surprise one of our teachers, Melissa Porfirio, who is a first grade teacher there at Crestwood. Y'all may recognize her name. She was the FCPS 2013 Teacher of the Year, and she's now been selected and was named Virginia's 2014 Region 4 Teacher of the Year by the Virginia Department of Education. So now she's one of 8 in contention for the Virginia Teacher of the Year. I think that's in October, early October 11th or something like that. And so we're very excited. She's had an opportunity to announce it. We had an opportunity to celebrate with her, and then got to visit the school, and what an impressive school. So we congratulate Principal Tim Kosick and all the faculty and staff at Crestwood Elementary School. That's a tremendous, tremendous honor. The College Board released SAT scores today. I'm very pleased to report that FCPS yet again scored above average scores in Virginia, so above both the state and the nation. And by the way, the scores in those areas went up, but we're still much higher than they are. Our composite score is up 3 points to 1663. So we congratulate our schools and our wonderful students for that wonderful accomplishment. And then I'm also pleased to announce that our parent app is now available in iTunes Store. It's both the Android version and Apple version is now available. I want to thank our wonderful information technology staff and our communication and community outreach staff for their hard work in producing this. I've already downloaded mine. It's great. I'm so impressed and pleased. It will be a wonderful tool for our parents. A lot of great information that they need right at their fingertips is available. And just a word of caution as you download it, our app is free. There's something kind of similar out there for 99 cents. That's not ours. It's not the official app. So congratulations to our folks for their hard work on that. We'll be announcing that and unveiling it this Saturday at the Education Summit, which is my final announcement. We hope to see a lot of people. I hope to see a lot of board members and a lot of folks throughout our community and parents to our 3rd annual Education Summit, sponsored by Deloitte. It'll be this Saturday at Edison High School starting at 8 o'clock, and we have just a really impressive keynote speaker. You. No, not really, but at least come for the breakout sessions. The breakout sessions, we have many great and very interesting, I think very worthwhile breakout sessions. So we look forward to Saturday. Thank you so much.
You know, Dr. Garza, the entire community is looking forward to the keynote speech by none other than our own superintendent, Dr. Garza. With that, Mr. Schultz, you wanted to speak?
I just was going to do it live just so that I got the differentiation in case parents were looking for what to search for. So I put into the iTunes App Store, Fairfax County Public Schools, 2 apps come up. The first app is the 99-cent one, and it does say Fairfax Public Schools. That's not us. So I just was saying, if you search Fairfax County Public Schools and look for our logo, and it's the free app, and I'm downloading it right now.
Thank you. Next, we have reports from. We'll start with the September 19th with Pat Hines, Ms. Hines, on public engagement.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moon. If you'll give me just a second. We did have our Public Engagement Committee meeting this past week, and last week, I'm sorry, and the Public Engagement Committee discussed the upcoming Education Summit. We are all very much looking forward to that Saturday morning, 8 a.m. at Edison High School. We will talk about 21st century skills, what that looks like, and how we can make sure we're giving our students what they need after they graduate. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We also talked about how members of the school board have been doing outreach in the community, and we shared some ideas. We also started talking about how we plan to do community outreach on the budget to make sure that our parent and student community has the information they need to know what's in the upcoming budget and budget conversations. And our next PEC meeting will be Monday, October 21st at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Ms. Hines. I know that Mr. Dan Stork, the committee chair for a audit committee, is still on his way back from back to school night. So with that, let me ask Mrs. Strauss if you could, on his behalf.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. We did have an audit committee meeting this morning, and we spent most of the time discussing the fact that we will likely be redoing the risk assessment, which was also one of the recommendations in the state review. We will be talking further about how to craft the risk assessment, because it helps to set the entire parameter for the audit work plan going forward, and for being able to answer the many questions that board members have had about other ways of evaluating all the aspects of the school system to make sure that we are meeting our program objectives, that we are as efficient as possible, and handling our business in the most efficient way. So we did briefly talk about the state review, but obviously the board will have many more opportunities to do that. So we will be back with more information on the risk assessment, how we will do that, and obviously much more on the state review. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Strauss. On Monday, September 23rd, there was an all-day work session, and the very first topic was a state efficiency review. There was a presentation of the report by Gibson Consulting Company. We have a follow-up work session on October 21st, and meanwhile, staff and board members will be reviewing that rather thick report from Gibson Consulting. With that, let me call on Mr. Werkup on the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Moon. I'm afraid I'm going to be Dr. Doom here, because we all need to know that the budget, we have a deficit right now of $156 million. So I'm going to provide little advice to all of us that the budget is the most important thing that we need to be focusing on. Having said that, I will review very briefly what we discussed at the meeting. The superintendent has asked us to provide some guidance, since she's clearly going to have to make some difficult decisions in proposing a budget that will be shown to us in January. And we provided our advice in the form of prioritizing various values, where the entire set of values describes the school system as a whole. Our input was provided in the form of a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet, it is my understanding we're going to be in a position to post that in the next 24 hours.
Thank you. Mr. McElveen on legislation.
We held our first legislative discussion of the year, and as part of that, the board heard a presentation about our program incorporating staff recommendations, and our next steps are to vote on that package in October and then present it to our legislators in November. We did also come up with our legislative priorities, and we're working on crafting that so that we'll have a very simple sheet just to hand our legislators and share with the community. Thank you.
Let me call on Mrs. Kathy Smith on Ad Hoc Committee on Superintendent Evaluation.
Thank you. The Committee on Superintendent Evaluation made a recommendation to the board that we move forward with evaluating Dr. Garza this year on the operational expectations and the student achievement goals, and also add the 3 goals that we set for her in our retreat. And then the committee will work over the next couple of months to align the evaluation for next year, starting July 2014, with state requirements.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Now we have a board matters. I'm going to start with Mr. Ash. I know that we are 30 minutes ahead of our schedule. That doesn't mean we have to use up more time during the board matters to make up that. Mr. Ash?
No additional matters at this time.
Mr. Becker? Mrs. Reed?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a few things to mention. The chair and I attended the 50th anniversary celebration at Mosby Woods Elementary School today, and it was wonderful. I was very impressed with the students, particularly when 15 of them stood up and introduced themselves and the program in 15 different languages. And they also, all the students sang "We Are the World," and it was, I wish that we had a camera, because it was just a beautiful sea of children and of every nationality, and just so joyful and so wonderful an experience. Also, I wanted to congratulate Dr. Mariasti from Mosby Woods for winning the 2013 Principal of the Year from the Curry School at UVA. So I told her that I'd like to bring her back here so that the board can congratulate her, and I think she might have been a little embarrassed by that, but I think we should embarrass her. That's quite an honor. Wanted to mention, it was in our board consent agenda tonight, but Oakton did win the Wells Fargo Cup, and for those of you who don't know what that is, it's the best of state athletes. So they won competitions across all sports, and so it's a big deal. And I know sometime soon, Mrs. Smith and I will be going there to celebrate and present with all the athletes. So that's a big deal. So congratulations to all the coaches and students who were involved as athletes at Oakton. Speaking of athletes at Oakton, Allie Klimkowitz was featured as the High School Athlete of the Week in Runner's World magazine, and that's kind of a big deal too, so congratulations, Allie. Last but not least, I wanted to mention that I am looking for an appointee for the School Health Advisory Committee, so if anyone out there is interested, please contact me. Thank you.
Ms. Hines.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to add my congratulations to West Briar Elementary School for being a blue ribbon school. That's amazing, really, I know. And I mean, I'm not surprised. I think actually all the schools in Hunter Mill could probably win that award. But congratulations to West Briar. I know how hard you all work, and it's much deserved. I want to thank South Lakes High School for letting me join them tonight for back to school night. Get such a warm feeling whenever I'm in that building, and it was a great evening as usual. I have one more back to school night to get to at Hughes Middle School next week, and then we're off. I think we're almost done with back to school night, so the school year must really be beginning. Next Friday also, we'll make it out to the South Lakes High School versus James Madison High School football game. Those schools are both physically in my district, so that's the big rivalry. And I'll be wearing both Seahawk blue and Warhawk red. And just wanted to remind everybody, it feels like it's a long way off, but it's right around the corner. Vote November 5th for the vote on the school bonds and also on our statewide candidates. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hines. Mr. Smith? Mr. McAlpin?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This past Saturday morning, bright and early, I had the honor of being the keynote speaker at the Greater Washington Association of Foreign Language Teachers Fall Conference. And that was exciting for me because I got to talk about how you can advocate for language programs, and for obviously a lot of communities in our area are having similar troubles making sure all their students get those kind of skills. Along with Ms. Hines and Dr. Garza, I would like to congratulate West Briar. I hear there are some pretty cool graduates of that school, and also there might be a lag of maybe about 15 years in terms of the criteria they use for determining that award. But all kidding aside, congratulations, West Briar. And finally, I would like to wish Dr. Garza good luck on Saturday. I'll be there bright and early, armed with my video camera. So good luck.
Mr. Church?
I just have a couple of district notes. One is on Monday, September 30th, Dr. Angela Atwater, who is the new cluster assistant superintendent for Cluster 6, and I will be holding a community meeting at Sangster Elementary and introducing the interim principal, who is, I believe, going to be starting maybe, I don't know, Thursday, maybe today. But that is an open meeting. It's not necessarily a PTA meeting. So any of the parents who have questions about the start of the school year, please feel free to come and join us. It'll be plenty of time for us to meet with you and dialogue. The second is that I have a kind of a large area in Fairfax Station and Clifton who have had some transportation challenges at the start of the year, particularly with the Robinson routes. And I just want to assure you, I've received a lot of communication from constituents, from concerned parents, that I continue to work with Mr. Plattenberg and Facilities and Transportation as we work on identifying and hopefully bringing more relief to that area. And then last, I'd like to congratulate Capital One and NBC. I attended the gubernatorial debate last evening in McLean, and Chuck Todd was the moderator. Julie Carey was one of the panel, and I was really impressed with the number of questions, either directly or indirectly relating to education, that came through in that debate. So I thank either the people who framed the questions, and certainly Mr. Todd for putting those forth to make sure that education issues and funding were and remain at the forefront between now and November. Thank you very much.
Ms. Evans.
Thank you. I was very pleased to be one of the panelists this morning at the Moving the Needle on Obesity conference, and I just wanted to say that there was a tremendous amount of energy in that room, and I appreciated all the hard work that everybody's putting into solving the problem of childhood obesity. So that was a wonderful event. I have enjoyed my back-to-school nights talking to parents, students, and teachers, staff, and I hope to see everybody at the Education Summit this Saturday.
Mrs. Strauss?
Thank you. Just to bring my colleagues up to date, the school board and the board of supervisors are working in a collaborative team on a project called Successful Children and Youth Policy Team. Ms. McLaughlin and I serve on that, and we did have a meeting this week, and it brings together both the county and the schools to talk about those things that we together can do to help strengthen the environment for our students, particularly on health issues, mental health issues, and safety issues. I also would just like to thank the tens of thousands of parents who have come to the back to school nights, congratulate the educators and the administrators who work so hard to get all of our schools ready, and I have been impressed with all of my schools with tremendous turnout. And I want to thank the cluster offices who have worked so hard to make sure that our staffing was in place and that our classrooms are well supported, and I really think we're off to a good start. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Strauss. Welcome, Mr. Stork.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thought I would show up. I did. It's been a productive evening. I was at Sandburg Middle School, and it's under construction, and had a wonderful tour. Had great turnout, wonderful turnout at Sandburg, and thank the parents and community for coming to a school that's under major construction at the moment. Has more than 40 trailers to house the students, and there's things hanging down from the ceiling that aren't the prettiest, but they have a brand new, or actually a brand new renovated library, which is just gorgeous, and a little nook area for kids to read. It was just, again, you can see our textiles at work, and it's always a pleasure to see a school that's really that old, looking that fine, at least in the parts that they've finished. So I thank my colleagues for their support of bonds and the community as well. And I had a few other back-to-school nights in the last couple of weeks. I want to thank particularly the principals and staff who have worked very hard for getting the schools ready. I've seen great turnouts in almost every school that I was in, and you sense an energy by the parents to really connect with the teachers and really make sure they have the key pieces of communication, things they need, telephone numbers and email addresses, and hooking into Blackboard. And I think all the other things that really help to create the partnership that we know is essential to our kids succeeding above average. And with the recent SAT scores and some of the other things we've seen, we know our kids are doing good work. We can always do better, and that's what we're all, I think, working on. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Stork. With that, let me read this. The board will now make a motion to go into closed meeting. 1, to discuss and consider disciplinary matters concerning students pursuant to Section 2.2, 3711A2 of the Code of Virginia. 2, to protect the privacy of individuals and personal matters not related to public business pursuant to Section 2.2, 3711A4 of the Code of Virginia. And 3, to discuss and consider the employment and appointment of a specific public employee pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2, 3711A1. Is there a motion? Moved by Mrs. Smith and seconded by Mr. McElveen. All those in favor, raise your hand. Vote is unanimous. The board is in closed meeting.